Hey, for all you patriots out there, I've got a job for you to do. I think you can do it. It'll be something to pass the time, maybe while you're in this isolation period. And so stay with me, and we'll get to it in just a minute. Hey everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles. And first of all, I want to start out just by welcoming some of the people that have come in recently. You found my channel because I know I've had a recent influx from a Twitter post that I made. So I want to thank you for that, and I want to welcome you to the channel. Now, I'm a little different channel. My specialty is actually government documents, and I like going in and finding out what's going on in the hearings and things, but right now it's a little bit of a lull in that respect. So I'm doing headlines at the moment because there seem to be a lot of them, and I'm finding things on Twitter and various other sources that I can share with you that you might be interested in. So this was something that I came across. I like to check the different committees and to see what's going on with them. Well, I wanted to check things because I haven't for a couple of weeks here. And, I came across this. I just wanted to let you know that if you are planning on going to Washington and you want to actually see these committees or sit in the gallery, which you can do under normal circumstances, you can't do it now. I think you probably already knew that, right? But just to let you know that they're working a little differently right now, but they are still in business because you can email them or you can send voicemails to your members of Congress and let them know your opinion on various subjects. And I encourage you to do that. If you go to their websites, there's always a contact form. Unfortunately, right now, if you want to contact a senator or a representative that doesn't represent you, you're not going to be able to do that. You can only contact them through that form if you're one of their constituents. So just be aware of that. It's a little kind of a bummer because there are some people that you'd like to give encouragement to or thank them for what they're doing. And some of them you'd like to say, oh, stop it, just stop it. But you can't. Anyway, I wanted to point out to you, this is on the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs, and they did have this notice that might be something to interest people, that yes, you are going to have this. I think most people already realize this. You're going to have this special ID to be able to do that. Something that I also wanted to point out to you is that they put down here the majority news and the minority news. Every congressional committee's website is different, which makes it really kind of tough to dig through things. And when you change the majority and minority, like happened in 2018, oh, then it changes totally. And you've got to, if you have links to those, like in some of my previous videos from the 2018 115th Congress, some of the links might not work because they were the majority and now the Republicans are the minority. So sometimes things like that happen and I can't go back and change all the links, folks. It would take me forever. But I did want to point this out for you because President Trump has been talking about their possibility of some of these medical supplies not going where they're supposed to go. Well, interestingly enough, on March 22nd, Peters, who is the minority leader of this committee, says he has a proposal to ensure availability of medical supplies for healthcare workers and hospitals during the coronavirus pandemic. So he is also talking about, let's make sure that these things get to where they're supposed to go. Well, that's what President Trump talked about, and I'm recording this on Sunday night, so he talked about it in the press conference today. So it is something that's out there, but I can guarantee that the liberal press is probably going to be saying, no, we can't do what he's trying to get us to do, which is look into why people aren't getting the supplies that are being sent to them. But, it was something that was okay to talk about back on March 22nd, evidently, but it's not anymore. And so, again, I just found a few things. I wanted to show them to you. I don't know if you've ever seen this. I wanted to give it to you so you had the link and you can download this into your files. It's 12 pages long. It is an abbreviated timeline of the key events related to Crossfire Hurricane investigation. And I thought it was very helpful. It's very interesting. It includes all kinds of footnotes to the different documents and the different things. And it also gives the quotes from some of these text messages from Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. page. So just in case you haven't seen that, it's been out for a while, but I wanted to make sure you saw that too. I also came across this on the ethics committee. I was looking at that, but they're kind of on hold right now. There's not a lot that's going on, I don't think. But then again, I don't think there's a lot going on with any of them. But they sent out this press release for all of the members and the officers and employees that they got to be careful about those deep fakes and the audio visual distortions. And so how are they going to define that? It's going to be interesting. It does say members have a duty and a First Amendment right to contribute to the public discourse, including through parody and satire. However, manipulation of images and videos that are intended to mislead the public can harm that discourse. Well, you know what happens when it's the Democrats that are judging whether it's misleading. Tends to be always a blame game. But anyway, the links will all be down below. They're in the description. You may have to pop open a little, like click a triangle or something if you're on a mobile device to get that to pop open. But it will be there and you can check out all of these links. I also wanted to share this with you because it just came out. FDA Okays emergency authorization of drugs touted by Trump to fight coronavirus. I don't know how this is going to affect the governor of Nevada and the governor of Michigan, who gave orders that doctors were not allowed to prescribe that. And if they did, they were threatening their licenses, which seems really odd because the Democrats were crying out that Trump can't give medical advice. He has no medical training. And so there's no way that he can talk anything about any medicines. And then they turn around, these two Democrat governors, and they say, oh, no, you can't use these medicines. Hello, they have no medical training. I checked. Neither one of them does. So definitely something interesting. And I'm glad that this is now officially okayed. So yes, they can use it. And if anybody tells you differently, they need to look at this. The FDA has approved it. I don't know how that's going to work in Michigan and Nevada, though. I sure hope that it allows those people to take advantage of this because the results are stunning. They've had quite a lot of success. And Rudy Giuliani had a medical doctor on Saturday on his podcast, I think it was. And if you haven't listened to that, you might want to check him out. But that man said out of 699 cases, none of them had to go on respirators and all of them were starting to get better. So the medicines do work and they are very inexpensive. It's going to, well, at least as of now they are. I hope they don't go up in price just because of what they are. But anyway, I wanted to show you this too. This is a press release from the Department of Justice. They have been working, and a lot of these different organizations are working. They're just not doing it in the same manner that they were. And they did a teleconference that I referred to in my previous video about arresting the Venezuelan guys. So that was huge. This is another one that I think is very impactful, that they sent out a statement of interest in the Title IX Women's Equal Opportunities case. Okay, now the Title IX was instigated back when women's sports really were not existent or virtually not existent in high schools. And it was to allow women to participate in sports. And it really ended up fostering the whole idea that, in a high school, not only would they have boys basketball, but they'd have girls basketball as well. So it was really a boon to that. And the whole point behind it, as it says here, allowing biological males to compete in all female sports deprives women of the opportunity to participate fully and fairly in sports and is fundamentally unfair to female athletes. Sports are an important part of education and character development and provide an arena where individual discipline can result in achievement and recognition. The purpose of all female athletics is to ensure that women have an equal opportunity to participate, compete, and excel in this important part of life. Title IX has been a major step forward in the long fight to achieve this equality. As reflected in Title IX, the basis for single-sex athletics is rooted in the reality of biological differences between the sexes. Clearly, then, eligibility to participate on a single-sex team must be based on objective biological fact. Gee, who'da thunk it, huh? Girls should not be forced, through the dismantling of Title IX, to be sidelined in their own sports. So, yeah, this was really great that Barr stepped up to the plate and he made this statement because, You know, it's been getting really bad, and a lot of girls are watching all their hopes and dreams go down the drain because these biological men are taking their place. And so these girls are losing out on scholarships, which could be vital to their entire future. So I'm very glad to hear this. I hope this is taken to heart across the entire country. But of course, people aren't thinking about all this right now. This is, you know what's on their mind. And this is what I want to point out to you. I have an assignment for you, actually, because if you recall, some of you know that General Flynn referred to citizen journalists, citizen reporters, are people who are out there, like you and me, that are digging on things and finding out information. We're not just leaving up the information feed to the mainstream media because we've caught them in their lies and we know they're not always telling us the truth. So here is something that might be a little job that you might want to do. There's a hashtag going around on Twitter. And again, if you don't have Twitter, you can still go and you can search for this hashtag. And it's hashtag Film Your Hospital. And here are, pardon the word here, this is what they use to refer to each other, the researchers do. So they don't mean anything bad with it. And here are some links that you can take. I'll have the link to this page down below. And there's a lot we're being told is going on, but sometimes the observations are not necessarily true. And even Sara Carter is getting in on this. She's keeping her eye on this hashtag. So if you want to do a little bit of journalism, then you can take your camera or whatever, and you can click on these if you want to. It'll take you to the regular, this link will take you to the regular board. But I'll leave this down below, but I wanted to show some of them to you. They're just threads on Twitter that have to do with what's going on at my hospital in my town. Now, some of our towns are small, some of them are big. If you live in a larger city, this might have a little more impact. I also need to tell you that even though the outside of a hospital may look quiet and nobody's there, that doesn't necessarily mean that's what's going on inside. However, it just seems to me like all of the hype that we're seeing on TV about these overrun centers and we need more hospitals and we've got to build facilities for them, it just doesn't ring true with what we're seeing from the outside. Again, the inside might be a little difficult because of HIPAA laws, and I understand that. But, if you could kind of monitor maybe your own hospital. I know there are some states, a lot of states now, where you're not supposed to be out driving around. But, if you can kind of swing past there maybe and get a little bit of a shot, don't do it if your state law says you can't right now. But if your state law allows you to go out a little bit, then that might be something you want to do and to join in with this and put a hashtag in so you can add your information. Sara Carter is watching it. She's keeping an eye on this particular thread, and she wants to see what people are digging up. But I do have to tell you that even though the hospitals on the outside look like nothing's happening, you do have to remember that there could be something going on inside. But it is kind of strange that the mainstream media is making it sound like they're overflowing and that there are they put up these tents where they can do the testing, drive-through testing. People are not driving through. People are not coming up to be tested. There's no lines there. Now, I saw one video where there was a line, at least that's what they said it was for, and it had the sign there, so it should have been. And that, seemed to be legit. And I'm not saying it's not legit. And believe me, I'm not saying this illness is not legitimate. There are people who have really been suffering from it, and there are many who have died. I take that very seriously. But what I'm saying is I'm not sure that what the media is telling us is what's really happening. So if you can get a little bit of inside info, it'd be nice to hear from people from all different states or even across the world. It'd be interesting if you could add to this particular hashtag, and so we could see what's going on in your part of the world. Now, I'll get to this thread in a minute here. But down here, there are several that are videos. Again, you may have trouble, don't violate HIPAA laws or anything, but there's a lot of questions. And here's one. My cousin is an ER nurse in Alabama. She told me they have 50 people on ventilators right now in ICU. Okay. So it could very well be. I know the ICU in my hospital is kind of in the center of the hospital. So even if you looked in on the ER, you wouldn't see any of the hubbub because it would be more in the center of the hospital where the ICU is. So that's probably very true. It's just, they're talking 100 people dying in a day. We need to know if there's some video verification of that because we're not seeing it. So I'll leave the link to this down below. And this is something very interesting too. Does anybody know where I can find daily death totals for New York City? It's just kind of odd that we're not seeing a lot on that if they're having as many deaths as they're claiming. And so it's just, here's one from Germany. It just is very strange that a lot of these hospitals just seem to be kind of nobody there. A lot of the waiting rooms, the ERs, and I understand that if, they want people to call ahead of time so you can kind of be expedited if they think you have it, but it's just strange. I'll leave that thread. Here's another thread that you can go through, and I even noticed it myself. I haven't been past our hospital, but I was downtown. I had to go to the post office to check my P.O. box. And, it's just eerie quiet in my town when you're there because it's not ever that quiet. Even at night, it's never that quiet. But, it's just creepy quiet in there. And I guess that's because everybody is doing what they're supposed to be doing, but it just gives a weird feeling. I remember, and probably many of you remember what happened at 9/11. And that day, I just remember there were no planes flying. I got released from school early. They let us go home early and came home, and I took my dog for a walk in the park, and it was just eerie quiet in the park. And it was the similar kind of thing. But now it's even quieter. So it's just really a weird feeling. Yeah. So just again, is the media hyping it more than what it really is? This is from Todd Starnes, and he went through and he checked his, and his is in Brooklyn. So it's just nothing happening. And in his video, he showed one of the tents that was set up to take people who were going to get the test. And we've been told that people were lined up for the tests. Yeah, well, not in this picture. There was no one there. Nobody at all the whole time he was there. I just think that's kind of strange. And then this one, again, here's another one of those tents. Nothing there. So it just is hard for us to understand if you have, so many people, as it's been telling us, we are not seeing the evidence of it. What we're hearing on TV doesn't line up with what we're seeing in real life. And then Sara Carter, of course, she is interested in it, and she wants to see the videos, and she wants to understand. But, we're also interested in getting videos and getting some facts from people who are there, nurses and doctors and, people that are working in these situations. Give us your thoughts. Tell us about what's happening there, like the one from Alabama. That's fine. We want to hear what's really going on because we feel like the media is not giving us an honest picture. So that's my sentiment on this. Give us an honest picture of what's happening in your neck of the woods. And then this was what Todd Starnes, it's kind of the same thing that Candace Owens raised the question of. What was New York City's average daily death rate before the virus? And what is it now? And that might be a difficult thing to find. I kind of looked a little bit. I didn't find anything. The latest I could find was like 2018. So it's not going to help us out a lot here. But you got to kind of wonder, is the death rate really higher, or is it just that more deaths are being attributed to the virus? Okay? And again, I'm not saying the virus isn't real. It is real. It is very damaging and destructive to people. Don't get it. Stay inside. Quarantine yourself. Okay. but there's something about it that seems to be different than what the media is telling us. And then here's another one here again, and this one is a candidate running against Nancy Pelosi. If you don't know her, you need to try to support her as much as you can. If you have Twitter, try to retweet her stuff. Give her a lot of airplay because she needs it. We want to get Nancy Pelosi out. And so we need to do whatever we can to get this woman in office. So she's one of them that's pointing it out. And it's like, wait a minute, they call them war zones, but we're not seeing it. We're not seeing all this. This one also tells a little bit more about it. CBS News caught using footage from an Italian hospital to describe conditions in New York City. So yeah, they used video from an Italian. This is from Italy right here. This is from Sky News, and this was from March 22nd in Italy. Look at this. Okay, you got green here, you got a blue here, you got a little green sign back here on the door. And then this is from CBS News on March 25th. You got the green back here, you got the blue here, you got the green here. It's the same picture, folks. It's the same. And that's really scary that they're using the same footage. Why would that be? Why are you doing that? And again, President Trump today, well, Sunday, when I'm recording this, in the daily briefing, he was talking about how some of these places you normally get like 20, 30,000 of these different like masks and things. And now they want 300,000. So that's a huge increase. Why would there be so much? And that's what we have to worry about. And then, of course, there was the respirator thing where they were sent and then they sat in a warehouse instead of actually getting in there. And so anyway, there's just some inconsistencies going on with the media coverage of this. But here's a thread that I want to share with you because I think this is something that maybe we've not thought of, and especially those of you who follow the 17th letter of the alphabet. This is kind of a different perspective on it. I don't know if you've seen this before or not, but she says, this is my first thread, long-time listener, first-time caller. And she says, I have a theory that I just can't shake. And since I haven't seen anyone else discussing it on Twitter yet, so I thought I'd put it out there. And she listed some of the people to send it to. While most of us have been focused on the criminals and the cabal in this silent war, the scumbag politicians, celebrities, and rich elites, etc., we can't forget about the victims. Millions of women and children currently in slavery right now. And I'm pretty sure that patriots are literally freeing them during all of this. And I think that definitely there's got to be some kind of operation going on. And we won't even deal with all the inconsistent pictures about the Tom Hanks thing. The pictures that are, from previous posts that have been used and they're being reused all of a sudden from, after several months. It's like, why would you not just take new pictures? It's weird. And they will definitely all need to be taken to a safe place to recover. When I saw this article about the Javits Center, I thought, these aren't normal triage setups. Those aren't hospital setups for a contagious virus. And if you look at it, it looks more like just kind of a nice room. It doesn't really look like a hospital room, but then again, it could be. It could very well be. I'm not saying it isn't, and I'm just saying that this is something to think about. Also, honey and balm to provide comfort. It's homegrown here at Javits on the roof, and so, they're providing even little amenities like that. These look like calming, therapeutic, safe spaces, possibly for a flood of very traumatized people and not virus-sick people. And I just watched the Real Candace interview with Tim Ballard of Operation Underground Railroad, where he cites unbelievable, heartbreaking statistics regarding human trafficking and child sex trafficking. 30 million people are enslaved today, including 8 million children. So, I'm pretty sure that Trump and our military are freeing the slaves. Is it possible? Yeah. These traumatized victims will need a place to recover from the absolute horror show of abuse they were just rescued from. Because, there will be a lot of them. So it could be maybe those ships that have been brought in, that's who's going to be going on the ships. Maybe it's going to be these places like this, maybe the makeshift hospitals that the Army Corps of Engineers is building, something like that. You don't know. And so it's a possibility. I want to leave that out there. There are a lot of people who are starting to wake up because they're seeing that things aren't going the way they're supposed to be. And Google has started letting people search for things that they weren't able to search for before. So is this the theory? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe the freeing the slaves is what's happening, and we're providing places for them to go. And that's what's really happening. So I just wanted to put that out there and leave you on a little hopeful mindset, because there are some good things happening, and we don't know, and I don't think we're going to know until it's all over what really is going on behind the scenes. I just know that it's more than a virus. That's for sure. So keep your eyes on the end game, because we're going to get past this. And if you're feeling a little depressed, if you're feeling a little hopeless at this time, don't, because there is hope. We're going to be past this before you know it, and these people will be free. And that is a very hopeful and important thing. So that's what I've got for you on this one. I want to thank you for stopping by, and I'll see y'all later.